My, how the turns have tabled. What exactly do I mean by that? Well, check it out. It's actually daylight for the first time here in the official Former Banker Studios, aka the spare room in my house, my tax write-off room. Absolutely. I'm Austin. I'm your former banker. I am your financial mentor, guider, and advice giver, taking my decade worth of experience in finance and walking you through all of the wonderful things finance that school didn't teach you about money. What are we talking about today? Well, as you can see back here on the board behind me, more money, lower interest. You guessed it right if you think, hey, we must be talking about credit. Specifically, what is credit and why do you need it? Now, if you're like me, you probably hear credit all over the place. You hear it on radio, you hear it on TV. It's what your family talks about, your coworkers, all this kind of stuff. And they always talk about numbers. 850, 835, 720, 593. Whew, that one's a little rough. But I'm here to tell you, credit is actually more than just a number. Credit's really going to be at the heart of your finances. It's going to make or break your plans going forward. What is it? Well, it's technically the way that underwriters at a bank or a lending institution look at, gauge, and judge your ability to repay loans and how responsible you're going to be. Now, credit is more than just a score. We will talk more in later videos of what makes that up. There's like probably 5 or 6 different things, little different factors there that are going to make up your credit score. But today we're going to focus strictly on what it is. Now, like I said, it's more than just a number. It's how the banks gauge your ability to be responsible, repay, and it tells them how much risk that they're going to take on you as the borrower. Obviously, you know, the higher your score, the better of a risk you are, the less of a risk you are. So you're going to get more favorable terms. That's why I've got back here. Typically, if your income supports it and you have a higher credit score, you're going to get more money out of the gate every single time. Every time, as long as you can support the debt, they're going to offer you more money as a borrower with a higher score. One of the other perks you're going to get is a lower interest rate. That may not sound like anything huge, but realistically, a low interest rate can make hundreds of dollars worth of differences in your payments. You know, if you're like me, you want to get financially ahead. You want to change the position that you're in. A couple $100 here and there every month can absolutely make a difference. Credit's going to be probably the biggest factor when you apply for a loan. That and your income both. So banks will scrutinize both of those very, very heavily. What a lot of people think is the common misconception with credit is, hey, you know what, Austin, I'm good. I'm not going to be getting a loan anytime soon. Now, you may be partially correct in that, but there's a couple of things here that I'm going to point out. For those of you who sit and say, you know what, Austin, I'm not going to be getting a loan. I don't need credit anytime soon. Let me ask you this. You're going to be getting car insurance anytime within the next year? Well, if you want to drive legally, you're going to have to. How about maybe, I don't know, rent an apartment? You thinking about that? You're potentially considering a career shift. Maybe you want to get into the world of finances. Well, guess what? Credit's going to play a role in all of those. Every time I've rented an apartment, I got a credit check. Again, that's going to be a gauge of how responsible you are, how much of a risk you're going to be. And landlords will absolutely do that when making a decision on whether or not to rent to you. Your utility companies, they're going to pull soft credit. And I'll go over the difference between hard credit check and soft credit check in a later video. But they will absolutely peel back that curtain to look in and see. If you got a low score, well, they're going to charge you a security deposit. Why? There's much more of a risk that you're not going to pay your utilities either on time or at all. If you're contemplating a career shift into a field that has anything to do with money, they will absolutely do a credit check. I've worked for a bunch of different banks. They have looked at my credit every single time. Yep, that is something that your employer will absolutely do. If you work in a bank, your employer actually reserves the right to continually look at your credit. Now, they may do it once a year. They may do it once every couple years. They may do it once every decade. But if you're in the banking industry or if you're in any kind of securities where you're buying, selling stocks, all those kinds of things, your employer will absolutely reserve the right to look at your credit score anytime, anywhere. Again, that's going to be a big factor in their hiring decision. If your credit score is low, you're probably not the best person to be given financial guidance and advice on. If you can't take care of your own money, how can you take care of anybody else's money? Now, that may sound harsh, but you know what? As somebody who spent a lot of time in the financial industry, I tell you, that's a pretty fair question. And again, as you guys know, the obvious, if you're going to be going out and getting a loan for a vehicle, a house, appliances, furniture, anything like that in the near future, credit is absolutely going to play a huge factor. So as you can see, whether it comes to getting a loan, getting more money, less interest, potentially a job, car insurance, all of those kinds of things, credit is absolutely needed. That's why it is so important. I focus very, very heavily on this topic here at The Former Banker, making sure you get proper, correct, very direct advice on this, because it's one of the things that many, many Americans need to work on improving. If you're one of those Americans, you know what, been there, done that, I am pulling for you. That's why I make this content, to help you move your position, move your financial condition, to make things better for you. And again, I will continue to pull for you and give you as much advice and guidance as I possibly can. Hope this video helped. If it did, like, subscribe, share maybe to somebody else who needs it, help get the message out there, continue to build the Former Banker family, bring in as many people as we can to give them some guidance on things that school didn't teach about money. If you think this video sucked, good for you. I appreciate you hating on me. Let me know in the comments below. And if you're so good at it, why don't you get your phone out and start filming? Let's go toe to toe, see what we can come up with. Thank you for tuning in as always. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. God bless, take care. I'm Austin, your Former Banker.